You're going to get a mini earful. You ready for this?
All right.
I was already in Walking Dead. You guys have heard about what happened recently. I'm furious at them for this. And because Frank is my friend, he's my buddy. Not only is he my buddy, but he's a guy that I'm extremely loyal to because he gave me a shot with the Mist when I didn't have a hell of a lot going on. And here's a guy who gets his cast and crew together and gives them to AMC, packages this whole show and gives them a show that is way cheaper than it would be to make anywhere else, because everyone is working well under their pay grade. Why? Because they want to and love working with Frank Darabont. That's what's going on, right? That's why, I mean, I could, you know, he's shared with me what kind of pay cuts people have been taking. And I also am friends with other people on that set, certain department heads. And I know they're not, you know, they stepped up because they wanted to work with Frank. Some of these people went to high school with Frank. And he asked me, he said, listen, I'm going to do this thing. And this is the first time I can talk about it in the press. He's like, look, you know, I think it'd be really cool to tell a prequel story about how Atlanta fell, do Black Hawk Down, but with zombies, and have a few of the main characters pass through. But it's like a Twilight Zone episode, the lead will be you. And your character will go through and you're a soldier and all these horrible things happen and the chain of command breaks down and eventually you have to take out your superior officer to save a bunch of people, and then eventually in the end you get bit. And then you're crawling, and he's pitching me this, and then you're crawling, blah, blah, and you crawl into a tank and you have this grenade and you're going to blow yourself up, and then you're like, you know what, then you set the grenade next to you and then you die. And then we reprise the scene from the pilot where Rick crawls in the tank and there's a zombie there, and if you look closely, I played that zombie because we were setting up this prequel that we were going to do. So if you watch the pilot of Walking Dead, that's me in the tank as the zombie who goes, and Rick blasts him, and then he gets deafened, and then he gets that grenade which saves them at the end of the season. Well, we're going to tell the history of that grenade. We're going to tell also how another character who is being introduced in the second season, how he comes to a certain thing. We're going to do all this cool stuff. Not doing it now, you know, not happening. Why? Because AMC wanted to save a few bucks. And besides, you know, so that is just one example of the kind of cool, awesome forethought that this guy's put into this show that is now absolutely for naught. Now, for me, it doesn't make much difference to me. I'm busy doing Being Human. We were going to try, you know, we're going to schedule things around stuff, and you know, I'm not lamenting the loss of the job. What I'm lamenting is the loss of an amazing idea, and there are dozens and dozens of amazing ideas just like that are now gone, and this is all because people wanted to save money. This is all because they felt it necessary to cut the budget by, like, when you add in the tax breaks that they started pocketing, for 35%, really? Budget cut? So I'm not happy about it. And here's the thing. It's not as simple as don't support Walking Dead, because there's a lot of good people on that set. People who are busting ass to entertain all of us. People who are doing their best. And people who are, you know, all these people who have been threatened to not speak out over what happened. I mean, it's ugly. I've heard some reports from people who are on the ground there, and it's really, really ugly what happened. And so yeah, I have very strong feelings about that. Again, like I said, it's not as simple as don't support Walking Dead. I'd say don't support, I don't know what the clear answer is, because there's a lot of good people who are now trapped, you know, and people also who, you know, in this job market, people don't have jobs, right? And people who have been threatened, hey, if you speak out, we can kill you, you're on a zombie show. So it's bad. It's really bad. And Frank, you know, having worked with him and having been friends with him ever since I worked with him, you know, we've been close. He's one of the coolest people you ever meet. He's also completely one of us. And he also runs a set where everyone is happy to be there. And let me tell you, that's a rare thing. I mean, you know, look, Being Human is an extremely happy set, but we have our gripes here and there. But you know, when it comes down to it, it's a wonderful set, and we really like everyone working with from the top down. Frank's sets are supernaturally happy because everyone likes to work with that guy. Everyone likes working with him. He's collaborative, he's open, he's creative, and he's enthusiastic as all hell. And the saddest thing is, you know, when I was at Comic-Con, which is 3 days before that announcement, I'm talking to him. Like, we got, you know, he was having a dinner, so I went and I visited him, and I'm talking to him. And you know what he was saying to me? He's saying, I'm like, how are these budget cuts going, man? How are you going? How are you having, you know, how's this working out? And he goes, you know, it's hard to do the show. It's really, really hard to do this show for the money that they're making me do the show. But you know what? I have to. And I was like, well, you know, why? Why do you have to? And he goes, because I got all these people into this. I got all these cast members to do this. I got all my friends to pull in favors. I've gotten all these people to do things for nowhere near the money they're worth and nowhere near the money they get paid anywhere else. And the reason I have to show up and do my best, no matter what budget AMC gives me, is because I owe it to everyone that's working for me. And then 3 days later, and by the way, they knew 2 weeks before. They knew 2 weeks before. So there it is. You asked. You got it. Yeah, that's how I feel about that. So bringing down the mood, right?
That's
How about that?